Something tells me in Florida we're going to have a close cup. Let's hope this match is close as well. SVB going to get the job done. He will start this match out. He will break first. Not sure Duong Quoc Hoang knows what the referee's saying, but he listened anyway, Phil.
Yes, I was saying about a score to settle. When these two met in the last 16 of the World 9-Ball Championship in Kielce, Poland last February, Duong sprang a surprise, winning 11-10. Van Boening was the defending champion. He badly wanted to go back-to-back. He was denied by Duong. As I say, that was in the last 16. This one round earlier.
That wasn't the intention from Shane. The intention was putting the blue 2 where he did put it. The fact that the 9 come off the rail and landed there were just a little bonus. It's an awkward shot, this, Phil. He's got to hit about there. But he's got to sort of screw it off the rail, so then it arcs a little bit because the green 6 is in the way. That moved. That was not a foul. Did you see it move, Phil?
Oh, undoubtedly. Van Boening would have noticed as well, of course.
Yeah, I'll give anybody in this room 50 tries to attempt what has just happened. That is pretty incredible. The fact that you can hit it that thin.
As they say, caught the paint.
He might have fluked this, you know. He has. From one fluke to another. You just never know what's going to happen on a pool table.
I will say this, the last time these two met in that World Championship in Poland, yes, Duong played well. There is no denying that. But at the right time, he had some luck. On more than one occasion. Not good, this call, especially where the 9 is. Always queuing diagonally over that side rail, never Never easy. Yeah. Not surprised. Not surprised at all. So he hasn't taken advantage of his fluke too.
I tell you what, Phil, I know the cue ball finished near the rail, but I still thought he was a huge favourite to pop the ball. As long as you hit it into the rail, we've seen these pockets play fairly generous this week. Huge, huge mistake.
Duong Quoc Hoang wins the first rack. It's early morning back in Vietnam, but I can guarantee you this. There will be scores of viewers, hundreds of viewers watching this with great interest back there. So, good morning, Vietnam. We're wishing your man all the best. Tell you what, though, a lot of neutrals who like a good old dust-up will be hoping that Shane Van Boening comes through to take on Jason Shaw, because if SVB wins and Shaw beats Konrad Yuzhushin, they will be clashing in the last 16 tomorrow. As for David Alcady, well, he's awaiting the winner of the all-Filipino match between Michael Boannon and Lee Van Corteza. That's 7-6 to Boannon over on table 20. Now, we saw Alexa Pachelch take advantage of that missed 9-ball from Fedor Gorst. Well, it's now 8-6 on table 1. The gap narrowing again. And on table 2 on the Matchroom TikTok, Jeffrey Ignacio is 7-6 up on Jeffrey Rodder.
We've seen it over the years. SVB, such a good front runner. When he gets them leads and he's breaking well, he can put severe packages on you. The fact that he's missed that 8-ball in rack 1, I hope that's not a sign of things to come.
He's done well so far in this tournament. Had a bye in the first round, then beat Eric Roberts 9-3, Imran Majid 9-5. That was in winners' qualification. And earlier today, he overcame Francesco Candela 10-6.
He's gone back to get the jump cue. Wants to be a bit careful though with the cue ball. He might fluke the 4 as well, but he could also hit the top rail, then the pink 4, and watch the cue ball go in the pocket. It's close to going in the pocket.
Our pal Jeremy Jones being made to wait to go on against Johan Chur. To move past his bedtime. Oh, look at that little gem. Look at that little gem. And look at the little devil that is the white ball.
Outside chance of making the 9 ball here. Nice opening bank shot. And if he gets on the purple 5, he's got a chance because he'll play the 6 ball onto the 9, and that will pop the brown 7.
From one combo to the next. 6-9 to double his lead. Duong Quoc Hoang has already beaten Shane Van Boening over an extended distance in a very important match. Can he do it again? The early signs, well, they are encouraging. 2-0. Now, do you remember when we saw Fedor Gorst missed that 9 ball and we thought it might be a turning point? Well, it was. Gorst's lead now reduced to 8-7. Michael Bohannon 8-6 over Lee van Cortese. Jeffrey Ignacio 7-6 over Jeffrey Rodder. Johan Chur, Jeremy Jones, Konrad Jezushin, Jason Shaw still to begin. There's been a pattern with Gorst, hasn't there? Getting close to a comfortable win and then finding it uncomfortable before he finally does eventually flop over the line.
Yeah, that's what happened in his previous match, didn't it? At the World Championships, Philly was down in many matches, just kept fighting hard and grinding and coming back to get the victory. But he finds himself under the gun against Purcell's.
Yes, against Payne McBride. Last night he was 7-3 up. Eventually pleased to win 9-6. That was in losers qualification after, of course, he was beaten by Vitaly Pachura in winners qualification. Van Boening will be irked, irritated, but he won't be one to panic.
No, not just yet, but as you said, Duong has beaten SVB in a huge arena, huge setting, the World Pool Championships. And the fact that SVB should really have won the first rack. You can soon be putting the pressure and the balls can start to punish you. Now Shane's got a chance here. You can see this one ball. Just landed a little bit straight. Surprised Shane's not getting rid of the magic rack. In practice, sometimes you just leave it on, but in a match, you just want to take it off, really. It'll probably get lifted off now. He's lost a cue ball again, Phil.
The rack not removed, as you suggested.
Clever shot. Playing for the middle pocket meant he could put the type of stroke on the shot that he likes. I'll tell you what, Phil, SVB has played millions of racks of pool, but this rack here, he'll be delighted to see this 9-ball disappear.
Yes, on the board. I think we're guaranteed some mouth-watering encounters in the last 16 tomorrow, and one is already in place. Ko Pin Yi will take on Albin Auschen. Auschen completing a 10-6 victory over Ko Ping Han. Jeffrey Rodder now in front, 8-7 over Jeffrey Ignacio. Michael Boanen, he's on the hill against Lee Van Corteza at 9-6. And Fedor Gorst remains 8-7 in front of Alexa Pachelch on table 1, which is available on the Matchroom Multisport YouTube channel. Been quite a lengthy wait for SVB between matches, but he didn't put it to waste. He's been practicing an awful lot. There are 3 practice tables to the left of our commentary position. He's been there for a few hours. Honing is already massive skill level.
That's the break he's been looking for. Whether he gets a good shot on the lowest ball or not is out of his hands. But the main thing is hitting that sweet spot on the yellow one. That'll work out handy. The old combo. And if the 3-ball goes into the top left, he's got to make sure he gets that cue ball on the right side of the table. Otherwise the pot can come a little weird.
Weird it is. Called in the roving referee there to make sure that he's got a referee's eyes on this, because it will be touch and go as to whether he makes contact with the 3 first.
Well, he's not got much time left, so he needs to call extension. He hasn't called extension. Oh yeah, he has. Has he? Yeah, he has. Tough pot, this, Phil. Really is. Oh, he's done well. Deserves a little bit of luck. 2 for the price of 1.
Yeah, rather the 8 had stayed up and the shape on the 4 had been obtained.
It's always a nice shot. Watch what he does with the cue ball here. Yeah, I always like that shot. It's like a stun with a bit of right. Swing it round off 3 rails. Been a real classy rack, this, from Shane.
And he produces so many of them. He really is a joy to watch. He's the joint record holder in terms of titles won at the US Open. Earl Strickland has won 5 in a span from 1984 to 2000. Shane Van Boening has won 5. His victories came from 2007 up to 2016 inclusive. So he's chasing history here. Wants to be alone at the top of the US Open list. We've just talked about the Mosconi Cup, and preceding that will be the Hall of Fame banquet, in which Van Boening will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Got in off the first ballot, as you might expect, given his accomplishments. You have to be 40 to get into that, and as soon as he was eligible, his name was put forward, and the overwhelming majority of voters said, yes, you are a Hall of Famer. One ball got buffeted around, but it's okay.
Yeah, the 2-ball kicked the 1-ball right at the very end, so that's made the opening pot more difficult than it was going to be for Shane. He's got pocket options. Bottom right looks to be the easier pot of the two. He's just a special pool player, SVB. He really is. You know, when you talk about sports, Phil, tennis, golf, individual sports, I mean, you can even throw snooker in the mix. 9-ball pool, when you look at the amount of players it's got worldwide, and then you take into account who the real creme de la creme are, it really is healthy, isn't it, when you look at it?
Immensely so. And to be right at the top of the tree, boy, have you got to be special. When you're talking the elite. Van Boening, Fedor Gorst.
Talking to Gorst, he's got himself on the hill. That match is now 9-7 over Alexa Pasels.
You called it earlier, Carl. You said he can put a 5-pack on you in no time, and we've seen over the last couple of racks just how devastating Shane Van Boening can be. He was 2-0 down, now he's 3-2 up. You look at his 2024, and it underlines what a player he is. He's won well over 100 individual titles, well over. This year alone, Bayou State Classic, beating Mickey Krause in the final. Won the US Open bank pool and won pocket. The Premier League pool in Connecticut. And recently, the Weir Memorial up in Washington State. And then the Big Easy 9-ball and the Big Easy 1 pocket before getting to the semi-final of the European Open. It's very rarely he's out of the big money. His worst finish actually this year was at the Derby City Classic, 36th in the 9-ball there. But usually he's at the business end, and that's where he wants to be here.
By 1 ball. It's amazing. As soon as you make 1 or 2 ones on the break, you just seem to carry on in a match. If you get off to a bad start and you're missing the one, it seems to be hard to find the sweet spot again. What shots he got on the blue 2 here?
Well, the 6, or shall I say the 6, the 4 rather inconsiderate.
It's been a long day for you, buddy.
It really has. I'm delighted that Jeremy Jones is still going in the tournament, but I need a break.
How are you getting on with that steak dinner off JJ?
Yeah, I'll be lucky.
Didn't play the pot, and boy, is he a fortunate boy. Well, that's finished.
for all of the players involved. For the 4 players still to go on, it's the last match of the day for them. So they can put everything into this and re-energise overnight. Back in the day at the US Open, when it was true double elimination, there used to be some grueling schedules where players had to fight through match after match on the one-loss side to try and keep their hopes alive. This week, players have been finishing local time quite early. Now that will remain so this evening and indeed over the weekend.
He did go for the pot in the side, wasn't far away, wasn't easy either. Potting the ball is easy for Shane. Getting on the 3 ball is not easy. Good effort that, it really is. What a shot he's played there. Can't stress how difficult that was. Off the rail, had to play it firm with a little bit of left. Maybe he was looking at the cannon off the 8, putting too much thought into that. He's missed the pot.
Yes, in Q Sports, so often the pot is sacrificed because of positional thoughts.
Over on table 2, we've got a 1-rack shootout. The Battle of the Filipinos is 9-9.
Yeah, the Battle of the Filipinos, the Battle of the Jeffreys, Rodder and Ignacio Hill.
I think we'll see the jump cue here.
Talking of Filipinos, Michael Bohannon has beaten Lee Van Corteza 10-7. So he'll play David Al-Kaidi tomorrow in the last 16.
Could have been worse for Shane. It's an easy jump shot, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to be easy to get on the pink 4. Well, he found a way of getting on the pink 4. That will do nicely.
That match in Poland they played was back and forth. Duong wouldn't go away. Just kept sticking with Van Boening. And in the end, he got over the line just.
Watch outside pocket.
Played that with an extreme amount of side. It made the 9 easier, and it is 3-3.
Alexa Paselj has won another rack, Phil. That match is now 9-8 to Gorst, so Gorst is a big crowd around the table as well. Obviously, we've only got 3 tables in play, so depending on where you stood, you can get a fantastic view of all 3, and pool fans love a tight, close finish. And Gorst, he's going through one again.
Well, we keep saying he finds a way to win, but if you think about it, he won the World Masters Final 13-12. He had numerous close shaves in the World Championship, including the final when he beat Eklenkachi 15-14. He sailed close to the wind here, going to the losers qualification round. Sooner rather than later, someone is going to trip him up. In this case, it might be himself, because remember, he had that 9 ball to go onto the hill at 9-5. Duong looking for a good break here to lay the platform to re-establish a lead.
Great break. See the cue ball arcing below the 9 ball. Puts the 1 in the side. Well, SVB's got to try and find the path here to the blue 2. It's not going to be easy, let me tell you.
And this is table 2. Is this going to be the finish?
Yes, 3 balls left for Jeffrey Ignacio to book his place into the last 16, and he's chasing Harrah's Cup points as well. It's close for Shane. Oh, what a shot. What a shot from SVB.
The crowd pleasing South Dakota kid.
He's not scratched. What a way to lose for Ignacio. Can you believe it? Oh my word.
He conceded with 2 balls still to be potted. He could not take the crushing disappointment of seeing that wide going off. I never understand conceding with 1 ball on the table, let alone 2. There's always the chance of something happening.
Yeah, even if it's 1 in 1,000, you just never know. Heartache for Ignacio. Let's just hope that doesn't cost him Harrah's Cup places, because he's up there on the rankings. What a sick way to lose, though.
Cue ball trapped a little off the cushion there. Didn't quite travel as far as he wanted. This is thin. Consequently, this is missable. But then again, this is Shane Van Boening. Using the 8 as a means to get on the 9. As a means to take a 4-3 lead. Well, 1 slice of the spectacular in that rack, and Van Boening has got plenty more in the locker. Just going back to that Jeffrey Rodder match against Jeffrey Ignacio, which finished so dramatically and so heartbreakingly for Ignacio. Well, Rodder now awaits the winner of Johan Chua or Jeremy Jones in the last 16. In fact, the last 16 is like this: Vitali Pachura against Max Lechner, David Al-Kadi against Michael Bohannon, Josh Villa against Mark Bosch, Albin Aushin Kopinyi, Neil Svein Joniuski, and then 3 more matches undetermined.
Jason Shaw and Conrad Yushishin have now gone in that arena on table 2. They'll have their practice rack, and then their match will get underway. You can see the 2 differences between both of these players' breaks. SVB is breaking hard cut break. Duong is more of the soft draw below the 9, arcing the cue ball. Both very effective when hit right.
The 7 went in, and there's a clear shot on the 1. But don't confuse clear with simple. Well, you used the word earlier. What a classy shot that was. Not just the pot, but shape in addition.
Fedor Gorst is at the table. He has 6 balls left. It looks a good opportunity to win the match and book his place in tomorrow's final 16. There you go. He's just potted the pink 4. He's on that purple 5 on the left.
This, though, the pocket that caused him consternation when he missed the 9 to go on the hill around 40 minutes ago.
Both tables have got 4 balls left. Which one's going to finish first? Not that it's a race.
I reckon SVB will finish his rack first, purely and simply because Gorst will be putting every last ounce into all of these pots. He doesn't want to fall short again. He doesn't want to have that horrible pressure of a deciding rack.
Yeah, I think Shane's going to get the victory there for finishing first.
To me, he's looking good, Shane Van Boening, after losing the first couple of racks. And remember, he missed an 8 ball in the first. He's won 5 of the next 6. We're watching a rematch on the main table. Fedor Gorst is 2 balls away from setting up a more recent rematch. Gorst denied by Skylar Woodward at the European Open. 9-5 up, lost 10-9. When this goes in, they will be locking horns again.
Repeat or revenge.
That phrase we keep uttering, but it does apply. It remains valid. Whether he's in front and staving off a challenge or coming from behind and fighting back, Fedor Gorst finds a way. He's a winning machine.
Just like the man breaking, a winning machine. He's got work to do here in rack 9. He could bank the 2 ball, but red 3 is the issue.
The referee called in to complete a delicate operation.
And he's up to the job. Is he playing the bank with loads of draw, trying to rip it round? He is. This is a classy shot, because look what he's going to do now. He's going to send the 3 ball off 4 rails and try and hook the cue ball behind the 6.
As he walked around, he looked at the official and asked for the extension. 30-second shot clock, 30-second extension, 1 allowed per player per rack.
Can't decide whether he thinks this may go with a bit of left spin. No, it never went. He played the safety. I thought he was going to. And look how well he's played it. He's got him locked up on that ball.
Handcuffed. Normally, when a player's in a hook, they're looking to hit the ball and gain safety. Here, making contact is no guarantee.
Over on table 1, enter the arena, our very own Jeremy Jones. He's up next against Johan Chua. Johan Chua is in fine form, a semi-finalist of the World Pool Championships. He was runner-up at the European Open just a week or two ago.
Yes, having played absolutely brilliantly to beat Shane Van Boening in the semi-finals. But Van Boening in that match was prone to a few errors. He missed 9 balls. He was guilty of miscalculations, and he was guilty of a miscalculation there with ball in hand. But he has got the 4-7 combo. 4-8 combo, what am I saying? The get out of jail card.
Let's not forget, Shane was 2-0 down in this match, so if he pots these couple of balls, he's basically won 6-1 in racks since then.
This is very good indeed. It's not all about the result, it's about the performance sometimes in terms of satisfaction. In our previous match, Skylar Woodward beat Carlo Biardo 10-7, but the quality of pool there was nowhere near the quality of this. Van Boening looking like the best version of himself, and that is one formidable version. So Van Boening needs 4 more to remain on course for this record-breaking 6th US Open title. If you're just joining us, I'll give you a rundown of the last 16 matches in place. Vitaly Pachura and Max Lechner will go head-to-head tomorrow. So too David Al-Kaidi and Michael Bohannon. Josh Filler through much earlier. He plays Mark Bajterbosch, Germany against the Netherlands. Fedor Gorst against Skylar Woodward. 2 US Mosconi Cup players facing off. What an attractive contest between Ko Pin-Yi and Albin Auschen. And the winner of that in the quarterfinals will play the winner of Finland's Joni Uski against Dutchman Niels fine. So while Duong Quoc Hoang is taking a timeout, let's just have a peek over onto table 2. Konrad Yuzhishin started his week beating the boss, Barry Hearn, 9-1. Hearn came here. He said his ambition was to win a rack, and he did so against Konrad. Won the 5th with a 2-9 combination that was by no means easy.
Yeah, and then he gave out an almighty roar. He was delighted. Well, that wiped its feet.
So Yuzhishin I must have typed his name out 100 times and I still can't remember how it goes. I'm looking at the screen now. It's JUSZZYSZYN. Yuzhishin against Shaw will develop. So too, Chua Jones. This one well developed. And Shane Van Boening gaining a well-developed sense of superiority, and with every justification. I think he's played superbly so far, without an overwhelmingly good run of the ball.
Yeah, I think he'll have a go at the jump shot here. If he does, referee's got to get his eyes on this one. It's going to be close.
By their very nature, jump shots are speedy. He believes he hit the 6 ball first. Sporting?
Yeah, I mean, in real time, I didn't really have a clue what he'd hit there. So very, very sporting for SVB just to not want it to get checked at, really. Just gives the ball up.
The instinct of the player normally is correct, but not always. I've seen quite a few instances in snooker where someone is called a foul shot on themselves for touching a ball, and you look back at the replay, very close up, and no infraction has been made. They've just perceived a foul as opposed to actually made one.
Yeah, I'd love to see a replay of that one. I'm not saying Shane's wrong because, as you just said, Phil, the player's instinct is usually correct.
Now here's the replay. Oh, we can't get anything from that.
Watch out, cue ball. It's going towards left centre. Losing the cue ball in this rack. He's been chasing to get good position for a few shots. That'll do. That will do very nicely.
Desperately required this. And the SVB foul shot, which he owned up to in sportsmanlike fashion, has directly led to loss of rack. So 6-4. Shane Van Boening's 3-rack winning run is over. We were watching Konrad Juzushin a moment ago in that first rack against Jason Shaw. Well, he won it, did the pole. First rack of Johan Chur, Jeremy Jones still in progress. The day winding down, but 3 very important questions still to be answered. It's been a really intriguing day. And I think setting the tone was our very first match. Joshua Filler coming through 10-9 against Mickey Kraus.
The old dry break. You could see how close he got with that one ball just at the top jaw. Shane's got the option of getting the cue ball behind the purple 5. Just like so.
Duong handcuffed. Funnily enough, I was mentioning that Joshua Filler match against Kraus. Kraus broke dry in the decider. Filler laid a hook, and from the subsequent chance, dished up. Will this be a similar tale? So, Cole, what's the great man plotting here?
I think he's just going to play thin and try and get the cue ball in between the red and the pink, off that rail, back out. Yeah, he's got to watch it not hit the ball. Yeah, that's nice. Good shot.
When it comes to one of these shots, big positional shot. You'd want Van Boening on your side. It is impossible to hit a pool ball any sweeter than that.
Yeah, very nice shot up the long rail. That they can catch you out.
Remember, undercut the 8-ball into that same pocket in the very first rack. This time he almost overcut the 6.
The fairy tale continues. Jeremy Jones takes the opening rack on table 1 versus Chua. So what a start that is for Jeremy.
And so far, I have to say, what a display from Shane Van Boening. Very good. The full array of wizardry on display. As a player, Cole, when did you first encounter SVB?
Good question. I think it was around the BCA in Las Vegas, 2006. Yeah, I think it was.
And back then, early on obviously in his career, was it obvious he was going to be something special?
Yeah, he was playing big games already then and winning tournaments. Yeah, I think it was 2006. He was always spoke about, you know, a bit like we do now with the junior players. You know, we talk about the potentials, and or even the younger pros on the circuit. Watch out cue ball. I was going to say watch out left centre. It's been kicked in the top right. Got a full table draw shot here. He's got to find a gap to land on the green 6. It's quite a big gap.
A little thin on the green 6. Shouldn't pose a problem, but you never know when you're playing as thin as this. And especially because he's stretching over.
Yeah, he's handled that well. He should get the job done now.
We've seen this often with him. He's not frightened to apply bags of side to shots to make position as easy as possible. For all of Shane Van Boening's excellence in this match, he's not shaken off Duong yet. (7-5). The Vietnamese star still in with a shout. On table 2, it's 2-0 to Konrad Yajushin over Jason Shaw. The winner of Yajushin and Shaw will play the winner of the match we're watching right here.
Yeah, and Phil, I was looking at the screen, just looking at Jeremy's game. He's won the first rack, and Johan Chua's missed 2 pots in the second rack. Jeremy's back at the table, and that took me back to the final. Johan Chua against Mickey Kraus at the European Open. Chua played wonderful pool all week. When he got to the final, well, he fell apart a little bit. And you got to be careful in the start of these matches. If you make mistakes and you find yourself a few racks behind, it can be brutal to try and get back in a match. It really can. So Chua's got to be careful over there. Jones, what a start. Bad news, it's a dry break. And SVB's got to look at the lowest ball on the table, the yellow one.
With the exception of rack 1 when he missed the 8 ball we've talked about before, he's been pretty dependable in offensive positions. Produced a lot of very classy shots. Had a spell where he had back-to-back break and run-outs. A couple of times he's locked Duong Quoc Hoang up in really tough snookers, but the fact remains he's still only 2 ahead, and he's not happy with that. Again, cautious containment. On table 1, Johan Chua equalising with Jeremy Jones at 1 frame each. gave up on hitting the 5, so played a deliberate foul shot with the intent on knocking 6 and 9 together. But of course, the next thing is, Carl, more trouble.
Yeah, you can't really blame Duong for doing that. It was super difficult to hit. I just wonder if Shane will break out the 6 here as well, or will he just leave it tied up? The reason why I say that is if he doesn't break it up and Duong Quoc Hoang hits the 5, then the 6 is still tied up. If he breaks it open, oh, he's not fluked it, has he? Oh, this is not good. He's going to be disappointed with this. Just because he's left that rail. He can go rail first here and pop the purple. Surely he can't just pot it without using the rail. Now he's just sizing up if the jump shot's on, but surely the shot is to go rail first here. Because if you pot the 5 going rail first, the cue ball's going to come over and try and land on the left rail. This is a surprising option, this, for me. I don't really get this one.
You saw there, 40 seconds left. That's not a 40-second extension. He had 10 seconds left originally, then 30 on top. The knees were bent. Duong Quoc Hoang knows the consequence.
Yeah, and you know, when you look at this scoreline, I do say this quite a bit, but the difference, Phil, between a 7-6 match and an 8-5, it feels like 2 different matches.
Yes, especially when the gentleman 8-5 up is Shane Van Boening. Laid the hook, opened up all the balls. Duong Quoc Hoang did not escape. SVB tidied up. 8-5 it is. 2 more needed for a place in the last 16 of a tournament that's very dear to his heart. Jason Shaw has a rack on the board on table 2. He now trails Konrad Yuzhushin 2-1. This is a look at table 1, where Johan Chua's at the table with an opportunity to lead Jeremy Jones 2-1. Jeremy put an awful lot into that win over BJ Usuri earlier on, and I'm wondering whether he might run out of steam here.
Well, he was at the table then, Phil, as we flicked over to the camera. We've seen him walking to his chair, so he must have missed a 2-ball. Now, the fact that Jeremy was obviously in the com box when Chua played that final against Kraus, that's got to give you some confidence, knowing that Chua can be a bit frail at times. Anyway, Chua needs a good positional shot to get on the purple 5. SVB is breaking 8-5 up. He's made the 1 in the corner. He's made the 6, so 2 balls. He's got a beautiful angle on the blue 2. And what's Chua done? He needs a flick. That's not going to help.
When it comes to SVB, I think it's fair to say no one is broken better than him on this table.
On any table, ever.
I didn't do the match call, but I know you're impressed the way he played against Imran Majid in winners' qualification.
That must have been the Jason Shaw match, because we were watching both of these matches.
Could it have been one of the Shane Van Boening Jr. matches, maybe?
Well, it's just when I looked up with the noise, I seen Jason sort of getting all the balls out of the pocket, and the referee were there. But yeah, we've got the SVB Junior Open in play. Fantastic for them to be playing in this very arena.
It could still be the scenario where he presents a trophy on Friday night and then receives one on Saturday night.
Well, he is used to holding trophies. Early on, Phil, when he lost the opening 2 racks, I'm not saying it was panic stations or it was time to be worried, but hasn't he played well since he was 2 down?
Undoubtedly for me, and there's no debate in my mind, undoubtedly in this match he's played the best of anyone today on this table. I think trying to win that record-breaking 6th US Open title is a massive incentive for him. Of course, he wanted to win the World Championship with all of its vast riches. But the personal connection between Van Boening and the US Open runs deep. Everyone has their favourite tournament for whatever reason. And this is Van Boening's. Now Chur, a little awkward on this 9 ball.
Yeah, I'll say it again. He's prone to either play unbelievable or kind of look a little edgy. Well, I'll tell you what, Phil. The old slow roller. Got to have some nerve to do that. Still early days. It's 2 on Chur.
The amazing thing about Johan Chur at the European Open, it wasn't even what a difference a day makes. It was what a difference a session makes. From semi-final to final, he was unrecognisable. But that's easily recognised, the 1 ball shooting in. Van Boening on the hill and in command.
He sort of didn't want it in, did he? I know the crowd are clapping. It looked good, but he was playing the hook behind the 3.
Why would you clap there? Why would you clap there? Unless you want Duong Quoc Hoang to make a comeback.
They probably think he's a little easier on this 3-ball, but we know he's not. He's got to play safe off this. So good in every department. Such a fantastic player when it comes to controlling that rock, the cue ball. Duong Quoc Hoang is kicking at this to stay alive, to stay in this year's US Open.
One of SVB's great rivals, Jason Shaw, now leading 4-2 against Konrad Yuzhishin, rattling through racks as only Jason can.
Yeah, no disrespect to, you know, Konrad, but this is looking like a strong last 16 lineup, Phil.
It really is. We had an absolute slew of shock results at the European Open. It was a unfamiliar UK Open final as well, but the big boys delivered at the World Championship, and same thing here.
Absolutely thumped that one home. It's all about this shot now. One good positional shot. It's not easy as well, is it? It's got to go forward with right top English. Cue ball comes down to the left. Got to get past that 9-ball. Got to get past the 9-ball. He has to get past the 9-ball. He's hooked.
It's been one of those weeks just when you think someone's going to win, they get blocked out, or some incident occurs, or they miss an easy ball. Crossing the line without alarm has been a rarity. Well, the beeps didn't work correctly there, but the jump shot of Van Boening, that was pretty nifty.
Okay, I thought he'd left the pot there, but he's gone for the short stick. Oh my word, what a special shot that was.
If he comes back to win this match, that will go down in the annals of the US Open as one of the finest shots you're ever likely to see. Not just potting it, but look at the shape.
Yeah, he played it with top spin and left to get around the back of the 6.
Don't start the Shane Van Boening victory parade just yet. What a way to save a match. What a jump shot. And Van Boening awaits victory. Duong Quoc Hoang determined not to go out just yet. It's 9-6.
JJ ties the match up over on table number 1. That's now 2-2. He'll be breaking in rack 5.
SVB was almost there, but he didn't quite obtain position on the 5. He was blocked out by the 9, and then a few moments later, the brilliance on Vietnam's best. Of course, for Duong Quoc Hoang, the equivalent of the US Open for Van Boening, for Duong would be the Hanoi Open. He didn't play in it last year. This time, though, I'm sure he's chomping at the bit.
Yeah, everybody can't wait to get back over to Hanoi. Jason Shaw will be defending his title, and all the pool players that played, or even the ones that didn't, they seen what that tournament was about. There's thousands of fans all showing up, knowledgeable as well. They knew when to cheer and sigh and make all them funny noises.
I think of all the things I've seen off table on this tour, the most extraordinary was when Fedor Gorst and Jason Shaw went outside to do some autographs, and the queue for those autographs literally was lengthier than the eye could see, right down the street.
Is the cue ball going to go? It is! At first I thought it was going to hit the top drawer. SVB has ball in hand. He's on the hill. This is a chance to keep the dream alive. He's going for 6, Phil. Never been done.
Just working out how to go about this. Options provided by ball in hand. With his positional nous and skills, he would be expecting to run out from here. Maybe 4 to 5, 5 to 6, that would be the obvious issues. So making the 5 that much easier.
He'll swing this below the green 6 and back out towards centre of table. That's ideal.
Not the orthodox weight distribution when using the bridge there, but it was perfectly acceptable, the outcome. And now one good positional shot from 5 to 6, and the end will be nigh.
That's okay. That gets the job done. SVB has done the hard work in this rack. Started with ball in hand. 2 balls away from booking his place into another final 16.
The 9 to avenge his defeat by Duong Quoc Hoang in last year's World 9-Ball Championship. Revenge is sweet, and so was the way he struck the ball there. That was very impressive. Shane Van Boening happy with that, and it takes a lot for him to be satisfied with a performance.